the brain is much better at psychologically doing things in the background. The actual subconscious is much stronger of a computer than the conscious mind is. And 95% of our decisions are made from the subconscious mind. So we're running on autopilot most of the time. So what I was doing was I had came on board as like basically a junior media buyer with an agency. And really good friend of mine, Matt, was very nice and was like, I'll teach you how kind of how I do my media buying, and then we can just move you up in the ranks. We found out very quickly Sarah's like an okay media buyer, but I was much better at doing creative and psychology. So I was spending way more time on actually generating the creative than I was in the ad account. So pretty quickly he was like, "Do you want to just move over and do all of our creative because you seem like you really enjoy it?" So while I was doing that, I had to figure out a way to generate fast results for these clients without having to spend more money to do it. So I was prioritizing statics over anything else because I could create statics in Canva in literally 10 minutes. We didn't have to hire anybody to do video or get a creator on board, nothing. So, one of the very first things I did was I went on Instagram, of all places, went to the brand page, and I would start reading hundreds of thousands of comments beneath specifically the pieces of organic content that had the highest views. So, anything that was just like really viral, I'd go and I'd read all of the comments beneath that. And again, I didn't know I was doing things. I was just really just trying to figure out what to run, basically. So then I would take all those review downs and stick them into a spreadsheet and just start trying to figure out what was coming out of there that was closest to what I wanted to say to these people. And that was based upon 10 years of psychology research. I already knew we needed a lot of emotion to be able to stop people on a page. So I would choose specific phrases that came out of the like customers' mouths and then rearrange them into an ad. And again, that was entirely on accident. Over the course of about 2 to 3 years, I took the system and made it way more robust. So I actually have an AI generator that does this for me now, where it will categorize all of the reviews that come off of a brand's website into 9 different emotional core like motivators that just helps me understand which direction do we need to go messaging wise to be able to cut costs down. The faster you can connect to the subconscious emotion, the cheaper your ads are going to be. So that's what I prioritized over time.
Um, I'm not going to ask you to kind of say all nine because I don't know if you'll be able to remember all of them off of the back, but um, within those different categories, and I agree. I think emotional based creative, engaging with that consumer also always helps. um, how do you determine which ones to use based on what audience you're reaching and the cycle and the consideration phase that they're in determining that product? It's something I always think about, where if you're trying to create urgency and you're reaching an audience that is basically bought in, you're going for a different emotion than if you are reaching kind of a passive listener that could be interested in your product, right? So how do you think through that?
The interesting part about consideration windows and like where you are in your journey, most marketers will come at it from the standpoint of product aware, solution aware, right? Like unaware or most aware type of a thing. We've heard this kind of model over and over. I think we need to go a little bit deeper than that, though, of just how aware you are, and go more towards where are you right before you hit that point, right? So if somebody is what would call problem aware, they know they have an issue, like I'm 20 pounds overweight, or my dog won't stop barking, like those type of problems, but they don't know what to do about it. That's more top of funnel, is what we usually bucket that in. So usually I'll see a lot of marketers come at it from an education standpoint, educate, educate, educate. Now, the funny part about doing that is they get stuck. Marketers get stuck in this mode of, I just need to educate people and teach them why they need this, and then they'll want it. That's not entirely how the brain works, unfortunately. And I think it's important for us to have psychology knowledge so that we understand you're not persuading anybody to do anything. Not even Ogilvy was persuading people to do things, right? Like, it's very important to realize all the emotions and all the desires that anybody has are deep within the subconscious and have been there for sometimes decades, right? sometimes some of these people, depending on what somebody said to them in high school, will have a deep need to look better or buy faster cars or wear fancy clothes because of something that happened 20 years ago that just got stuck, right? This changes the entirety of the behavior that they have in their everyday life. So, going back to like how we put this into marketing, when it comes to awareness levels and trying to decide which emotions go into which awareness level, it's important to know that emotions change depending on the time of year, depending on when you are in life, depending on what age you are, who's around you, what lifestyle you live. So, the more data we can get on what that person's currently living like, the closer we can get. So, I try and identify those emotions that are coming out of the reviews because it helps me kind of understand the core emotions of the whole, addressable market. But I also like to spend some time working on thinking about what this person's actually living like. Because as we talked about before, like you have 2 dogs, 2 cats, that's very specific to you, but that also changes a lot about how you behave on a daily basis. There's gonna be a time of the day where you always leave your house to walk the dogs. That's an interesting behavior that I need to know as a marketer. So, long way to say, to be able to market to a specific, awareness level, you really have to know where people are in life.